Hi, Ashish. I am Kristen Miller.
Hi, Kristen. How are you?
Welcome so much to our candidate conversations sponsored by Fort Bend Voters League. Are you familiar with Fort Bend Voters League?
I am, and thank you very
good.
much. Thanks for hosting
As
this.
you may know, we're a nonpartisan organization, and we really specialize in voter engagement so they can really get to meet their candidates and be involved in the issues. In fact, our motto is bringing civility to public discourse. So
That's awesome, actually.
hard thing to do sometimes.
Yes.
But just before we get started, I want to clarify. You're Ashish Agrawal, and you are running for Fort Bend Trustee Position 3.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what can you say is your biggest motivator for wanting to serve Fort Bend ISD, and what uniquely qualifies you for the position?
So the motivator is the kids. And if you think about it, what I have laid out is my North Star. It's all about the kids. What I'm finding is in Fort Bend ISD, we have so many different agendas and plans and motives that we are leaving behind our kids. So when I saw that, that's when I decided I am going to stand up and run for this position. And when you asked about what is my experience, what I bring to it, the biggest challenge I see, one of the biggest challenges I see with the current situation is I believe the board is not transparent and they cannot plan, which is my strong point because in my work, I do create long-term plans. That is my work job, and not just create plans, I actually help execute year after year and then refine the plans. So that is what I can bring here, which is transparency and fact-based planning that all of us will be aware of, and we can believe in it, and we can move forward.
Now, you mentioned, that segues to my next question about the three biggest challenges of the district and solutions for those challenges. So you mentioned transparency, and I would like you to go into more of what you would like to see from the board or what you would like the board's direction to be as far as transparency that they can make improvements on.
Absolutely. And what I would like to see the board do, and which is what I am projecting what I will do is, imagine a 10-year plan. And the 10-year may be 8-year, it may be 12-year, the length can vary. It's a long-term plan. Right. It's a long-term plan. Create a plan based on real hard facts, data. The data today is suspect. Let's make sure the data and facts are there, accurate. And the board themselves have sometimes actually admitted that the data and the facts are not there. So create a plan with milestones. And with triggers. So what do I mean by that is if you and I, as residents, as parents, we can actually look at the plan and say, this is what's going to happen if X is going to happen if Y happened, right? If a particular growth happens or if something triggers it, here are the decisions that will happen. So that you and I are never surprised. That's the biggest challenge. Well, I keep saying big, those are one of the biggest challenges because we keep getting surprised and we don't believe the data. And there are so many decisions that have been made that are suspect. We don't know why they have been made and what's driving it. So that's one, when you talked about the three things. So transparency and facts. The second one is excellence. If you look at our schools, we have 70 plus schools, right? High school, middle school, elementary school. There are some schools that are, from an educational performance perspective, they're awesome. They're great schools. I love it. But then there are so many schools that are down on the spectrum. We need to raise the level of excellence of all the schools. We have a great athletics program in various schools. Let's have a great educational program on all the schools. Why are most of the schools left behind? So that's another aspect. The third one, which goes hand in hand with all this, is equity. Because a lot of these schools are left behind, the kids are truly left behind.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I come back to my North Star, which is it's all about the kids. We don't need to focus on just a handful of schools, a handful of residents, a handful of kids. We as a society need to take care of all the kids. So that's from an equity perspective I'm talking about. We need to make sure we have equitable resources for all our residents and kids.
And I think that kind of segues into a question that I have. You know, the socioeconomic advantages and disadvantages vary greatly from campus to campus here. And the education gap sometimes it gaps more than we would care for. How do you feel we can best support our campuses, or what changes can be made to narrow that gap?
So one of my vision and what I want to bring forward, and by the way, these are not easy things, and I would be first to admit I don't have a magic wand, and it's not going to happen day one. It is going to take a lot of hard work and perseverance to make it happen. So when we talk about socioeconomic gaps, when we talk about why some kids, a lot of the kids are not performing well in some of the schools, a lot of it goes to how have we structured our schools. So you mentioned you are from Katy. I'm assuming you're familiar with Houston ISD. There is a school, DeBakey High School, right? It's very good in healthcare. Parents move houses to get zoned to HISD, and then it's my understanding kids are still selected based on a lottery system. They have so much demand, but only so much seats. My vision is, why can't we take our high schools and transform them into various institutions of excellence, be it healthcare. We have the world's largest medical center, right? We have 4 or 5 medical institutions, colleges, right? You can name them down, Baylor and others. We have NASA. Why can't we have our high schools associated with something related to aeronautics? Texas A&M, alma mater, is one of the best schools to get aeronautical engineering degree. Why can't we bring them together and have it aligned with our high schools? We have oil and gas capital of the world. Why can't we align there? We have the best arts and musical and downtown. So you see, I can go down the list. My vision is, when we give our kids, regardless of the socioeconomic situation, when we give them the opportunities, we put it in front of them what they can achieve. I'll give you another example. My company, we just hired, and I will not name my company because I'm not here to promote them. We hired an 18-year-old kid, 18 in our security division, IT security. That kid is not yet a college, does not have a college degree, has gone through a P-Tech program. Okay, I know Fort Bend ISD just started a P-Tech program. And this I'm talking about in New York. We are working with high schools to get our kids in real world situations, let them earn money, stand up on their feet, and then they can go back to college. I'm not saying it's applicable to everyone, but we truly have to think beyond what we have always been doing. The world is moving so fast. I mean, if you think about it, the other point is United States, right? So I'm an immigrant. I have gone through the education system in India. I've seen it here. We have the most resources available of any country here in the United States, and we still cannot educate our kids. It's a sad state of affairs. Our company, we have projected, and you pick up any economic journal, any research, you will find we will have real problem in this country with filling the jobs with our youth who are currently in school and as they grow up. So we need to do something, and stay ahead of the game. Exactly, and if I go back to what I was saying, if we can align our institutions, high schools, with real world situations, real world opportunities, we will give the kids a spark. I mean, and they will, so will 100% of them take it? Probably not, but majority of them will grab it and they will become successful. Sorry, I took a very long time.
No. I want to thoroughly hear what you had to say. What involvement have you had in the community or the district that you feel has put you in touch? And I want you to answer them separately, because they're really 3 separate questions. With the needs and thoughts of the students themselves, with the needs and thoughts of the parents, and with the teachers, which sometimes we forget that's what makes our school strong, is our teachers.
Correct. Let me start with the teachers.
Okay.
So if you look at district's data, not my data, the data that district has published, you look at the last few years, and so I'm a data guy, I like analysis, and because
numbers.
That's how we make decisions in our company. So the growth of number of students, okay, it's going off a trajectory, a small trajectory, okay? Some numbers, it says 2.5% is the annual enrollment growth, okay? our teachers' salary growth is far lower than that. However, our expense, our spend growth is by far anything. So I don't understand and I don't believe when we say that biggest part of our expense is the salaries for the teachers. Where is the money going? Why is it that our teachers are not getting the growth in spend, in their salary, and their benefits that we are talking about, and that the numbers are showing us? So that's on the teachers. The second part on the teachers is, yesterday I got an email from one of the schools. They're talking about teachers not having resources, PTA, PTO members helping. It's great that parents are involved. Going back to my comment about the most resources in this country, we cannot give our teachers the resources they need to educate our kids. There's something wrong there. So that's the teachers. And then you talked about community. From a community perspective, before I came and I was texting it, we saw a tree fall down because of the inclement weather, and we were rolling up our sleeves and we were clearing the trees from the road. And by the way, when I was clearing it, no one stopped by and said, "Hey Ashish, which subdivision you live in? What's your address? What's your race? What's your religion?" No one asked that. My question, and I'm sorry I'm digressing, but my point is, when we as a society can come together when something like this happens, why can't we come together when we are trying to decide the future of our kids? Because when I go meet with parents, with residents, I hear, first question I get asked is, where do you live? What's your address? Which subdivision? What matters? Because our residents have been trained about, if you're not living in that subdivision, you're not getting taken care of. We need to get out of the mindset. So from a community, I'm involved in my HOA, I'm multiple committees, I'm in my campus-based leadership team from one of the middle schools. We rolled up our sleeves like everyone else who helped with the Harvey hurricane, which is an incredibly traumatizing experience for all the neighbors. So, and my section where I live, we have 67 homes. You should come visit us. You will see what our section is. We have I cannot say every race, but it's a real microcosm of what America is. All races, religion, from different parts of the world,
That's
and
what
we have come together.
prides themselves on, is our diversity.
And they all have come together because I asked them, guys, should I run? They said, absolutely. You come and look at my community, you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's the community. And well, I answered a little bit on the district as well. I'm part of the leadership teams, campus-based leadership team. So I am very engaged and I would say involved and informed. And frankly, it does not take me a lot of time to understand that there is a problem. A lot of people will say, well, I have been here for 10 years, 20 years, and I've seen this. And yes, but if it takes me 10 years, 20 years to understand there is a problem, then there is an issue. So that's another part of why I've jumped at it. So.
Well, we appreciate you coming by and taking your time and sharing with us yourself and your ideas as a candidate. I really appreciate that. Ashish,
thank you very much.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that is position 3. And we want to remind you, all of our voters, that early voting is April 22nd to April 30th, with the election day on May 4th. We'll see you at the polls. Thank you so much.
Thank you.